Good morning, everybody. Welcome to November 11th edition of CU Sunday. First of all, happy Veterans Day to, of course, my guy Mo. Um,
Appreciate it. Same to you.
thank you. We got a full house today. It's not the normal trio of myself, Mo, and Ken. We got Prez is joining us today, and we have somebody who we will always make room for no matter what. We got Jeff 2.0. Um,
I
not the
appreciate
clone
it.
version,
I
just
appreciate the offer too, Walker.
so yeah, we got a full roster today. We got a whole starting five. So let's get into it. First of all, how's everybody doing this morning?
I'm great.
I'm ready for the tank.
Now you great because you about to
Wonderful.
go get that food.
Well,
It's a great,
I didn't drink last night. Like I'm complete. Like I feel amazing. Like
it's
today
a
is
great
a great
football
Saturday.
weekend.
Exactly.
Great college schedule. Great NFL schedule, which we'll talk about.
I'm glad. I just want to say this. I'm glad we're going to talk about that because on the face surface, this Sunday actually looked like the worst Sunday of the NFL Sunday because of all the primetime games that are being played.
So we're gonna get started as we do every Saturday. We're starting with the Off the Ball Network Power Rankings. Again, this is 8 of us that we submit our rankings every week, and then we compile it, do an average. So this is what we get right here. Let me not hide prize with that. So obviously, number one, we see Eagles sitting there at number one. A lot of people are liking Ravens at one. I think some people did have Ravens at one. Jeff is the highest ranking member of this panel today. His Dolphins sitting at 7. Can't seem to beat a good team yet. We'll see. I think that's just growing pains with when you're an up and coming team. You got to learn how to win those ball games. Dallas somehow miraculously still sitting at 8. I feel like the weird thing with Dallas is every week that they lose, everybody else around them loses too. So they don't really drop that far.
That's the NFL in a nutshell.
That's exactly what it is.
How the NFL's been this year.
It's
Yeah.
built that way.
You got Washington down at 23, which rightfully so, a little high in my opinion, but we'll see what we can do this week against Seattle. But yeah, so Mo, I'm gonna start with you. What was your initial reactions when these got posted the other day?
Shout out to the Bengals. And really, I said it going into last week. Like, I think the Bengals are back, but they got a chance to prove that they're back against the Buffalo Bills. Now, I'm not the highest on the Bills, but that game was a lot. That was one of the games that were talked about all week. Who's this a must win for? I had the Bengals at 5, just because I do believe now they're back. And if the Bengals are back, they are one of the best teams in the NFL. That they have been for past 3 years, essentially, or going on year 3 of being one of the best teams in the NFL. So if I'm going to make the statement that they're back, then I'm going to put them right about where they are, except they had a slow start. They probably should be. Philly, I think, is one by default. I'm not sure that Philly's the best team. I would probably say Baltimore. I put Philly at 1 if I'm not mistaken, just by default. They got the best record in the NFL. So until you don't, I'm going to keep you at number 1. I know it's a power ranking, so you might feel another team is better. But just by default, I got Philly at 1. Really, I guess the Vikings is because they're sitting at 16, right? And they don't have Kirk Cousins. They were able to pull out the win. And so them being at 16 is they're a borderline playoff team right now. I think they might be in the playoffs after that win. They might be the 7th seed.
They are.
Well, now you can tell everybody kind of that's how everybody's looking at them, but they're the weirdest team on here because they're rocking with Josh Dobbs for the rest of the year. They're pulling out wins with backup quarterbacks now that Kirk Cousins. It's how serious do we take them? Justin Jefferson is supposed to be coming back after this week, but it's how serious do we take Minnesota because they don't have Kirk Cousins? They started rolling pre-injury. They started getting back rolling. They're at a soft spot of their schedule. So, this is a team that Josh Dobbs could finish the season out and carry them to the playoffs, and it'd be the weirdest thing. But they went through their rough patch of the schedule, and now they're in their soft spot. So, Minnesota's just the weirdest team on here. And then Cleveland. Cleveland's pretty high, rightfully so. But the reason they're weird to me is because they have a quarterback who's supposed to be all-pro potential, and they're winning games based on defense and running the ball, which is typically how Cleveland's been the past few years with Baker Mayfield. But Deshaun Watson is not supposed to be Baker Mayfield, but they are winning with the elite play of Myles Garrett in that defense and just mediocre offense. Like they're winning the way the Jets are winning. They're just winning at a higher clip. So like the Browns are weird because they're good and they're supposed to be better than what they are, but they keep winning games. So you can't just drop them because Deshaun Watson stinks.
Jeff, you were on a few weeks ago and you liked our rankings at that time. Do you still like them?
I do. I like how you guys are doing them. I like how they're turning out. Me personally, I have the Bengals higher, but I understand that they started slow this season. I can understand the criticism, but when I watch them play, here's how I watch teams. How many of the other teams could you beat if you played them the next day? And I think the Bengals have a great tool set. Actually, I think the Browns have a good tool set. Like as opposed to Buffalo has some major weaknesses in some serious they can be caught by matchups, just like the Dolphins. Like the Dolphins can be caught up in matchups. I think San Francisco's taking a step back. If you ask me, I say the Browns are what San Francisco should be and vice versa. So I think the Browns are actually better than San Francisco now, with Purdy coming back to the list. Once we get to the bottom half of the list, it really, honestly, I got to be clear, it doesn't really matter to me. I think it's pretty close. You could throw I think the Falcons should be higher, but they just can't get over that hump of, figuring out how to use the talent. The Texans probably – they play like a better team, but then they don't get the win. So I understand that. So overall, I think that the Dolphins are the ones, and I'm saying this as an analyst, not as a fan. They are huge matchup problems, and they can beat a lot of teams, but they don't match up good against the good teams. So I don't know. 7's fine, but I also don't think that they can. I think they couldn't beat the 6 teams in front of them, so it's fair. Bengals are definitely better than the Lions and the Jaguars. That's probably what jumps out.
I had mentioned like it's weird seeing the Lions and the Jaguars up so high simultaneously because for the better part of my lifetime, Jaguars had that one really good run in the 90s with Byron Leftwich. And then Lions have been mediocre my entire life, essentially. So seeing them both in the top 5, it's cool. I like it. I'm happy for Jared Goff. I'm happy he's getting his little revenge tour going on. I don't remember where I had the Bengals. I'll pull up the individual rankings in a minute. But Ken, I wanted to get your thoughts on these rankings as well.
First of all, San Fran, they couldn't have had a bye week at a better time because they were sliding. And so they can kind of maybe get right and, maybe get Brock Purdy some confidence again because he's been really bad recently. We got to talk about the Texans because Buddy on Twitter was real hung up on Texans at 17. And if we're talking strictly wins, there are 15 teams with 5 wins and the Texans aren't one of them. So them being at 17, it's not like the biggest slight in the world. Did CJ Stroud just have probably the performance of the season last Sunday at the quarterback position? I'd say that he did. But the week prior, he lost to the Carolina Panthers. So let's slow the roll on the Texans because again, like as Jeff said, like they win some games, but then like they find ways to lose games. And so to put them at 11, I think is absolutely absurd. I don't think that they're better than any of those teams in front of them. I think that the Texans, they're well coached. I think that's evident in the fact that they even have this many wins so far this year because Texans looked like they were going to be a 4-win team this year again, but CJ Stroud's just been that good. So putting them at 17, I don't think that that's crazy at all. They could win it this Sunday, and then they're going to move up into the top half, and that's great for them. But if we're talking strictly teams with wins, there's 15 with more wins than them. So to put them above like Pittsburgh with that defense, sure, you could maybe argue them with the Saints because the Saints, they have the better record, but they haven't looked like the better team probably overall throughout the year. But wins matter in the NFL. That's what it boils down to. It's wins and losses. And we can talk about, well, Philly hasn't looked the best. Well, wins and losses, like Philadelphia has been one of the best teams in football based off of wins and losses. So I don't know. I thought that it was very, we'll call it stupid to say 11 for the Texans after you just lost to the 1-win Carolina Panthers 2 weeks ago.
I just saw his reply to that. I didn't even check yesterday because I had asked him, well, where would you put them at? Because his point he brought up is that we dismantled the Steelers. And of course, I had to don't let their record fool you. They're not that great of a team, which we talked about last week. Mo, and Ken. Good. We talked about last week. They're not a good football team. Their record is not what they are. So then I asked him, where would you put them at? And that's when he said, that's when I just read, he would put them at 11. That's crazy. I don't understand how.
I'm probably in the middle somewhere. I could see the Texans. I think they're a better team than the Seahawks now. The Steelers, they're close. I think Ken's right. They're close to the Saints. But yeah, I wouldn't go any higher. We'll say like 14. If you want to tell me 14. Real quick note on about building franchises. I love it. They got D'Amico Ryans, who obviously leans towards, he can be a head coach and also leans towards defense. And then they let the offensive coaches coach their rookie quarterback. That's why rookie quarterbacks succeed. When you get an offensive head coach, he doesn't have time to coach these quarterbacks, and they get left behind. We're seeing it. We're seeing it in New York. We're seeing it all over the league. We saw it in Arizona with Kyler Murray. We saw it in Chicago. Like, it's like a head coach can't be the quarterback coach. It just can't. It just can't happen. I mean, the most successful team of all time had a defensive head coach and then let the offense coach their quarterback, and that's why it works. And that's why the Texans are winning, because they chose the right combination of head coach, quarterback, and it's working out for them.
Well, and just to reiterate, like the Texans being at 17 isn't a bad thing. Like
No.
it's like us putting the Texans at 17 is we're saying that they're trash. And it's like, no, like they are in the playoff mix.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Which for the Texans heading into the season, I'm a betting guy. 5.5 wins was their win total heading into the year. That's where they had them. So they are exceeding expectations based off of what they were supposed to be heading into the year. So having them at 17 isn't a bad thing. It's just, we know that some of these teams ahead of them may be a little bit more established. Maybe they have some more established coaches, or they've maybe got some better playmakers on the defensive side. I think you could say that with teams like the Saints, the Steelers, the Browns. Like, that's why we have them ahead of them. And then we just don't know where to put the Chargers, I think is what it boils down to.
What a weird team.
Where do you put the Chargers? Because Justin
For 30
Herbert is
years.
supposed to be so good, but he's at 15. And
they had the worst, most dominant win ever.
Yeah.
Like
tough.
they won by 3 touchdowns, but the offense looked horrendous.
Well, this is opposite of what I just said about the Texans. It's a terrible head coach quarterback combination. They got to fix it.
Yeah.
The quarterback's fine. You can win with this quarterback. They've got to get the right coaching and system and get the best out. They can't do another 20 years like they did with Phillip Rivers and make it just that's where they're headed. Just to be this team for another 10 years. It's silly to do it. Get a real coaching staff in there that knows what they're doing.
So, Prez, were you shocked seeing your team at 29 being led by Ben Tortellini?
Oh, that's messed up.
No. He's
Tortellini, man.
We don't get near as much Italian
Arizona.
racism as we used to.
he's
That's
Tommy
nice of Cruz to
Luigi,
bring
I
it up.
thought. We're
We
just
got-
switching it up.
Tommy DeVito, baby.
He's
He's gonna
a
lead us to.
different complex carb.
Well, listen, Kyler Murray is gonna ruin the Cardinals' chances to get the number 1 pick. So I'm all
he's
for it and
not.
all that. He's gonna ruin it.
Don't worry,
I
Fred.
really don't.
No. COD just came out this weekend. They're fine.
Yeah, Call of Duty just came out. Kyler Murray's on the game, bro.
Oh,
He's not
that's-
worried about. He's not worried about it.
Murray and Justin Fields probably won't play the rest of the year because
Tyler, if you want to link up
they're
on
on the trade.
God,
Kyler's playing Sunday.
he won't.
He's playing. He's
He's
gonna
playing.
ruin
They
it.
said he's playing.
Yeah, Kyler's playing.
I don't think he actually
they're trying.
plays. Well, let's see his performance. I don't think he's really going to play.
Oh, you mean like he'll be there? But
We'll see.
play.
That dude checked
Gannon
out.
said,
And I don't blame him.
Gannon said Murray had that fire in his belly. He didn't take the bus.
Did you guys see the potential Cardinals lineup where QB, first 3 receivers, and running back would be all under 5'10"?
Yeah, they got a little
That's
team.
right.
For real though,
That is. I mean,
It's
that
Tyler
makes
5'10", Hollywood Brown 5'9", Rondell Moore 5'7",
Oh, my
Greg Rivers
God.
5'7", and Demercado 5'9".
I
Low
forgot
key.
Rondell Moore is
Steve
that
Kerr running that offense?
Steve Kerr offense, bro.
I know this isn't overreaction Monday, but by the way, that Cardinals loss just because that was the game that I had on. I was at work. I mean, I was definitely working the whole time, but like that game was on. That's one of the actual worst beatings I've ever seen a team take that nobody really knew about because the score wasn't that high. They had 54, like it was all they didn't. It was
54 yards,
crazy.
right?
It was the worst offensive performance I think I've seen since like teams
Pretty
that
bad.
used to play like the 85 Bears and shit. It was wild.
Yeah,
They're a
that's bad.
bad football team.
So Prez, we're not going to spend too much time talking about Ben DiNucci, because you got a quarterback coming up on the horizon. Y'all gonna grab Caleb Williams. So what was your thoughts? What
Are
was
we
your
at the
thoughts
point
when,
where
when
we're
you saw this?
allowed to be Italian racist? Because it's kind of fun, but I don't know if we're at that point. Usually, I'm
Hey.
the conscience in here.
No, I think-
All we're doing is naming pasta dishes. There's nothing wrong with this.
That's fair. Okay.
25-year-old rookie is playing that. Oh, man, it's gonna be fun the rest of the
He's
season.
gonna maybe throw for 85 yards this week.
Wait, who
Danny
is it?
DeVito, baby.
Oh,
Danny
DeVito
De-
again.
Danny
And
DeVito,
you guys know that
baby.
was Joe Pesci's name
And-
in Goodfellas. You guys
and
remember that,
Matt
right?
Barkley's our backup quarterback. Like we're
No, he's
taking this
not.
real serious.
How about
we're taking
Barkley
this-
sticking around for all these years?
Barkley's gonna take a snap this weekend.
He saw
you
Jo-
think?
He saw Dobbs.
We're
He sees Dobbs getting an opportunity. He's like, yeah, I still got it. Still got it.
Hey, shout out
gonna
to
get,
Josh
we're gonna
Dobbs.
get Bark gonna look good.
Dobbs had one of the greatest NFL games in history, low key last week. I was so impressed with what he
Based
did.
on-
I'm being
especially
totally
based
serious.
on circumstance. Like,
I
based
love that dude.
he was like, bro, I didn't even know my lineman. Like, he took snaps with his center before the game. Like,
I
those are the
love that dude.
snaps he took with his
Didn't
center.
it
And
say
yet,
that's
and
like
yet
the
Zach Wilson,
team since-
he looked better than Zach Wilson's ever looked so far in his NFL career.
they said
Okay,
that
I'm
it's
going to
like
bring it up
the
real quick.
team since, like,
Imagine,
October last year.
imagine Josh Dobbs was white. What people would be saying about that performance this week? I'm being totally
Tom
serious.
Brady.
They would be like smartest player we've ever
Yeah,
saw.
I can
This-
tell you this much: a lot more white folks would be shaving their eyebrows if he was.
I'm being 100% honest.
Come on, that was a
No-
trend. That was a
no
trend.
eyebrow,
It
no
was. They
November?
were doing it.
That's not me going.
I don't even know
after
if you're allowed. No, these dudes were out here shaving their eyebrows. I got a lot of Minnesota
doing
fans.
it.
Like
That's crazy.
I don't know if it's right or wrong to do it. I'm just telling you that they were doing
You
it.
don't know if
But I
it's
tell
white
you,
or wrong.
They would be doing. They would be talking about like how smart. Like I remember when terrible Craig Krenzel was majoring in microbiology.
Greatest
at Ohio
quarterback in
State.
Ohio State history.
And but people talked about it constantly how smart he was. Like Josh Dobbs is actually that smart. Like
But you know what's
what I mean?
crazy is like just to bring that up is there was they brought it up like in the headlines how like they basically there was like news articles and it basically in the headlines was they was making it like Josh Dobbs is so smart for a black guy. Like they kept mentioning that
Well, of course,
it's for a black guy.
of course.
He's at NASA. Like he's one of the smartest black quarterbacks we've ever seen. Like it was literally in headlines on like
Yeah.
I don't know about the New York Times, but like
And
some,
actually, low key, Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson are actually the two smartest black quarterbacks we've ever seen because they got paid for no reason. So actually, they outsmarted the entire NFL. Deshaun Watson broke the NFL.
yeah, like he changed contract
Mm,
negotiations forever.
He showed that you can have allegations and still get $200 million.
Anyway,
Fully guaranteed.
yeah, we got
Anyway, so
Yeah.
moving on.
everybody's like, "Why'd Jeff come?"
So Jeff, I'm
They say that when I show up.
Oh,
to
by the
actual
way,
parties.
Jaguars
Why
at
is
4.
Jeff here?
Jaguars at 4 is crazy. That's
Yes.
insane. That's insane.
I
Sorry.
had the
We're gonna
Bengals
find
at
out.
four because
They're like the.
of
I know they
everything.
won 5 in a row, but they are like middle of the pack on offense in every statistical category, and like their defense has been in break. Like I know they won 5 in a row. That's cool, but they're
Winning
not
ball
the fourth
games.
ranked.
Sitting at 6
They're
and
winning.
2
I get it, but
there by default, essentially. Like just having 6 wins puts you
like
somewhere.
Cowboys are better, the Bengals are better. Like the 3 teams ahead of them, like 4, 5 teams ahead of them are better, but it's whatever, I guess.
You'll find out this week. It'll
Yeah,
start.
we get
it'll
to see
play out.
this weekend.
But what if they mash? What if they mash San Francisco?
Then you got to take them serious. Like you
Then
really
you
got.
gotta take them serious. Yeah,
And I know San Francisco's on a slide. I get that, but like at the end of the day, this was a team that was like the favorite to come out the NFC, a powerhouse. You know, especially after they blew out the Cowboys, like it was like, oh, they're for real. Oh my God, like this team is.
They're healthy though.
Philly.
They're looking healthy, so like, they should bounce back.
Yeah, like they do come back healthy this week. Like Debo's playing, CMC had like everybody that week off.
Ayuk's healthy. Ayuk's good.
Here's
Kittle's-
what happened. There's enough film on Brock Purdy now that defenses just got better against him. That's just how it goes in the NFL. We've seen it a million times, over the history of the NFL. Give enough time on a quarterback, the defenses start.
That's why
There's tendency. There's reads.
That's why a sophomore slump for rookie quarterbacks exists. When rookies come out and be really good that first year, that sophomore slump, it exists because it's like now we have a whole season of film. Like that's where that whole sophomore slump comes from is like
Yep.
your second
Where
year
does-
ain't as easy as your first because nobody knows your tendencies. They spend the whole off season focusing on all these teams and tendencies and preparing. So that's where that slump comes in. And you're seeing it with Brock Purdy. Like he's in his sophomore slump right now.
We saw it with Trevor Lawrence, and now he's on the other side of it now. Like these guys, then they also start moving forward. So Purdy's going to be around. I don't know if he's going to be a starting quarterback for a long time, but he's going to be around. He's good enough to
gonna
be
Pretty
around.
good. That's about it.
Yes, pretty good. I like it.
So
Oh damn!
I was about to say that deserves a kickback.
I supported it, Ken.
1 minute ban. 1 minute ban.
1 minute in the box.
Yeah.
So, wait,
so
I get thrown out for say pretty good, but I said that white folks would be shaving their eyebrows, and we're completely cool with
No,
that.
we accept that. Yeah.
we
Okay.
accept
oh, that was
No,
a
You
good
can
one.
say whatever you want.
I like
write
it.
You can
down
say
so I'm
whatever you
aware of
want.
what gets you kicked out of these things.
Just gotta learn how to
White
read the
folks
room,
have no
Ken.
rights.
You'll get it. I believe in you.
I'm
So-
Canadian. It takes me a bit longer.
It's okay. So, Ken, I'm going to start with you. What's your game to watch this week outside of obviously any Cowboy that ass whooping that you guys are going to put down this weekend?
I don't even know if I'm going to watch that. Like, I already
should.
watched an ass whooping of the Giants this year, so I don't need to watch another 40-0. So I'm going to watch Green Bay and Pittsburgh.
Y'all come
Why are you going to watch
hate.
the
The
Green
Jordan
Bay
Love
game?
stuff has Ken. It's bad for your health. The Jordan Love hate. It's bad.
So TJ Watt is going to probably solidify himself as Defensive Player of the Year favorite this
Agreed.
because he's going to haunt Jordan Love all day long. And I'm going to love every second of it. And he's going to struggle all day long. And I'm just going to continue to wave the flag of how bad Jordan Love is. And it may not be healthy, but quite frankly, I don't care. You know what else wasn't healthy? Aaron Rodgers haunting my dreams for a decade. So I'm going to relish in Green Bay struggling. And so that's why I'm going to watch Pittsburgh and Green Bay this weekend.
TJ, the stats for him tomorrow could get out of hand.
Yeah.
It could be Khalil Mack. Like it
That
could be
offensive
Khalil
line.
Mack.
I will
And
tell
I
you
will
this:
5-game sack this year, right? It's going to be like that. Yeah.
Watts is as impactful as any running back in the league right now. I can tell you that. Like he's
And
worth.
you know
Watt's
what's
got to be
crazy,
worth
though?
3 points a game.
Watt is going to haunt Jordan Love, and yet it's still going to be 13-10 because Kenny Pickett just
Well, because there's another
Oh,
Kenny
right,
Pickett's
yeah.
on the other
like,
side.
they're going to figure out a way to keep this close.
Yeah,
17-13.
you had George Pickens like delete his whole like he did the whole like take everything off his bio and all that. Like that's how pissed off he is at Kenny Pickett. Like
I'm sick of receivers doing that crap too.
I called him.
it is
Pickens,
a
no problem.
no. People do that. I hate when people do that in general. Like, oh, I took the team off my bio and look, I showed you guys. Like, no, you like shut up.
I'll bench you, buddy. Like, you're-
I'll bench you.
Also,
Exactly. All right, you take off the bio
Hey,
and bench you.
I'm just saying,
that
it worked in
too.
Las Vegas. They got
You're
that.
going to
They
do
got
that
that
to
clown
Mike
out there.
Tomlin? Like, you think that Tomlin's going to be like, you know what? We
You're
gotta
right,
start
man.
getting George the ball more. I
Yeah,
think
we're
he's
gonna force it to
like,
you.
Hey, sit down, kid. Like, we got Deontay. We'll be fine.
Fair.
Yeah. They gotta take the quarterback situation more serious if they want to get back to being like the Steelers, because Kenny Pickett, it's not it. It's just not it. So like, come on, take it serious. Let's go.
First quarterback off the board that year. Just say that out loud. Remember, we sat here and laughed at it as it happened.
That's
As it happened, we laughed at it.
yeah, that was
That's gross.
Dude,
So-
the dude wore 2 gloves and a dome. That's all I got to say about Kenny Pickett. It's your
Small
quarterback
hands.
wears- Your
They
quarterback
took a
wears
small
2
hand,
gloves
2 gloves
and a
quarterback
dome.
in Pittsburgh simply because, and he was 24, simply because he played in the same stadium in college. Like,
Yeah.
that's nasty. Do better, Pittsburgh.
What? They had
Perez,
Josh
what-
Dobbs. They had Josh Dobbs.
They
on
had
the
Josh
freaking-
Dobbs too.
They had
They
Josh
were
Dobbs
all-
at one point. These almost
Yeah, but Dobbs
smartest
probably wanted
quarterback in
everybody to
history
shave
of the
their
NFL.
eyebrows too. So
Well, they had Ryan
You know,
Shazier.
Tomlin would look like a psychopath if he shaved his
Wasn't he?
eyebrows.
Isn't
That
he in
shit
the
would
same
be
family? I'm sorry.
wild. I heard you.
in the same.
Anyway,
Anyways, who's next?
Prez, what's your game to watch this week? Fucking
I'm back.
unhinged.
Pass.
That's fucked up. That's all that is.
Game to watch, Chris.
Pass. Go to the next.
Bro, what's the game to watch?
Oh,
Just pass.
Texans Bengals, bro. Like at the end of the day, my team's not playing at the same time. I always like if Fields was starting for the Bears, I watch them if I can. But the way CJ Stroud's been playing, and I know I think everybody's overreacting with how good. Like CJ Stroud is really good. He's been really good this year. But like coming off the great game that he had against the Bucks, like Ken pointed out, like he also did lose to the Panthers the week before. So like putting him in these MVP conversations and all that, like, is he offensive rookie of the year? Yes, hands down, it's not close. Like, okay. And we get in that conversation there. Like, that's what he is. That's what he's going to win. Shout out to CJ Stroud. But I think we get to see, for those that think the Texans are the 11th best team in football, like we get to see this weekend. The Bengals are a little banged up. No T. Higgins this week. Jamar Chase seems like a game time decision. So the Bengals could be a little depleted. If the Texans are as good as people think they are, and it's not like we think they're world beaters, we just think they're a good football team. Well, a good football team could have a chance to take advantage of a team that's banged up on the offensive side. No Jamar Chase, no T. Higgins. If you're going to pitch to everybody and you want everybody to keep riding the coattail that you might actually be a pretty good team and be in this playoff hunt, then you come out of this in 5-4. Like you're sitting at 4-4. You come out of here 5-4 with a banged up offense. You don't get picked apart by Tyler Boyd and Irv Smith Jr. and Joe Mixon. You sit there and you take advantage of it. But the Bengals also have good defense. So, like, I know they could be missing pieces, but they do have a good defense. But to me, that's just the game to watch. I mean, it's a hype game. The Bengals are here. The Bengals are back. CJ Stroud got all the hype in the world. The Texans got all the hype in the world. Like, why wouldn't this be a game that you sit at 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff and want to watch? There's a couple of games on at the same time that you might pick over it, but this is one of those hype games. Like, the Bengals are back. The Texans are here. Like, why wouldn't you want to watch this game? But I know there's other games to watch too.
Well, let me tell you, though, someone that lives in Ohio, this game is like people watching this game, people going to this game. Like it's,
oh yeah, because it's
a
in
big deal.
Cincinnati, former Ohio State quarterback in Stroud, Joe Burrow, the Ohio kid that everybody
it's a
loves.
big deal.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. So Jeff, what's on TV1 for you this weekend?
Because this will actually be on TV1, and it's also, a local rivalry, and it's also my wife versus my daughter-in-law. Ravens Browns is going to be awesome. They're going to beat the snot out of each other. Myles Garrett, versus Lamar Jackson. That's a really great matchup. This is actually a great matchup game. It's always a bloodbath between these two teams. The fan bases absolutely detest each other. Outside of, if you're in this circle, you may not know just how much these teams don't like each other. But I'm right in the heart of it. If in the younger viewers don't remember, the Ravens were the Browns at one point. They moved to Baltimore. They had to leave the name. The Browns are actually an expansion team but nobody knows that. Like, this is a big deal, and it matters in the division because with one win, the Browns, they get 6. The Ravens are at 7. If the Bengals would win, the AFC North is tied up. So one of the most impactful games, fun games. Crazy. Lamar's on a heater right now. Is he going to make the run for another MVP? Are they going to be brought down to earth? Is Myles Garrett going to stamp, for defensive player of the year? Like we talked about Watt, all of these things in one game, and it's at 1 o'clock when NFL games should be played. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That game's going to be brutal though.
Yes.
I could see it being low score. That game's going to be brutal.
Not a lot of passing yards are going to be thrown in that game.
No, especially because what's crazy? I just want to throw this out there is everything that Jeff said is everything that should be talked about. But why is this any other year? This would be Deshaun Watson versus Lamar Jackson. But because Deshaun Watson ain't really any type of good, we're not talking about a quarterback matchup. If Joe Burrow was the quarterback of the Browns, it's Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson. Deshaun Watson should be that where we get to see two of the top quarterbacks. This could be an MVP battle, but instead it's everything else defensively with Cleveland and stuff like that. But this should be
defenses in the league.
Yeah, two of the best defenses, but this should be an MVP battle between Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson he's really been horrible, if we're being honest, especially if we're measuring his performance to his money. He's been terrible.
This could be a score ugly game. It's good, because both defenses are
13 to 10
havoc and all that. But both teams run the ball well, but both teams stop the run well. So it's just going to be one of those games where it's going to be
it's going to be a big play game.
But it's going to be a fun 10-7 though. It's going to be a fun 10-7 where it's just going to be so.
3 plays will decide this game at some point. That's just how these games are. Believe me, I've watched a lot of them.
It's going to be a good one. Jacksonville 49ers. Because we have to see if Jacksonville needs this. No. No.
Chris, yours is unhealthy. That's
well, he has a stake in both because he's been hating on T-Law and Brock Purdy. So
yeah. So I have a mutual hate for both. But no, this is a game where 49ers need to bounce back big time. They, like you said before, the bye week, they came at the perfect time for them because they needed that bye week desperately. And I know Trent Williams, I don't know if he's going to play or not. I know he's questionable with that. I think he has an ankle. So that could be huge, and maybe the Jaguars defense, can get some pressure on them on all that. But that Debo's going to be healthy, Ayuk's healthy, Kittle's going to get healthy, and all that, and Brock maybe bounces back and all that. But for the Jacksonville, I know they won 5 in a row, but this is the game just to prove to us that because we have them 4. I don't think they're the 4th best team in the league and all that. But if they want to solidify that and be taken serious, they need this win at home. I think they're at home. They're in Jacksonville, right? So I think this is a big game for them, for both teams, but especially for Jacksonville and all that, because we need, if they want to be taken serious in a tough AFC, they need to win this game. And
for what it's worth, too, San Francisco playing at 1:00, the whole West Coast early.
Yeah, the whole West
thing.
Coast.
You got
that.
That's
a real thing.
Points. I think Lawrence is becoming the quarterback that he was drafted to be. I think he's solidified as they don't have question mark at quarterback, regardless of how good he's going to be. He's definitely a starting quarterback in the NFL moving forward. So that's nice when you draft a guy and you're not dealing with that. You got these teams like, Chicago dealing with it, Arizona dealing with it. They're like, if you think you might have missed on quarterback, then it's like it distracts
the Giants.
Much the Giants. Like it distracts so much from what you can do. And Jaguars can just focus on going out and winning. Just like I said with the Chargers, they don't have to worry about quarterback. So they're not, that's why they can win a couple extra games a year, because they don't have to focus every week on what's the next step? Do we tank? Do we not tank? All this bullshit. Trevor Lawrence is fine at quarterback. This team's playing pretty good. So I like it. I like the choice. I'm definitely going to pay a lot of attention to that game. And because of what it means to the 49ers.
Yeah,
I like it.
49ers, I think this one big.
It's a great lineup this week. Great lineup.
Which is so crazy.
It also means a lot for our group chat this weekend.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but here's because I kind of brought up this point earlier, but so all the games that we talked about are great, right? But this is why Sunday sounds terrible. Thursday night football was Panthers versus Bears. Sunday night football is who plays Sunday night? Who plays Sunday night? Jets
and Raiders.
Jets Raiders, yeah.
Sunday night football is Broncos Bills. Your best 4:00 game is probably Commanders and Seahawks. Maybe the Chargers is nice.
I think Jets Raiders is interesting because of the coaching change. I think the new coaching staff with the Raiders, the Jets.
It's interesting, but it's not going to be a good game.
It's still ugly.
I'm not sure of that.
You got 2 quarterbacks that should not be starting quarterbacks playing, and
you're right.
With Aiden O'Connell, though, not that but I think he has an opportunity for the rest of the year to kind of not Brock Purdy-ish, but to evaluate hey, maybe because they could win a few games, and you're a few too many of really getting your quarterback unless you probably reach. But you probably could be even if you draft a quarterback 2nd round, let's say you draft Jaden Daniels, but you have Aiden O'Connell for at least next year. If he looks good enough to be he's feasible for a year while we build up our 2nd or 3rd round, if we land on a Sam Howell in the 3rd round, he's feasible for a year where we're trying to build something and not throw our rookie quarterback till maybe towards the end of the season. I think Aiden O'Connell could be
maybe this is probably actually the path to quarterbacks. I think again, it's time to stop drafting these guys in the 1st round and thinking they're going to turn your franchise around. Go draft a couple guys in the 5th round, let them play it out for a couple years, figure out who can actually play in the league. That's what's setting these teams back. Yeah. But
you see the draft a quarterback in the 1st round or round 5 after, because if you're a 2nd round pick, you get treated the same way as if you're a 7th round pick. Because if you suck as a 2nd round quarterback, you're done. They're gonna draft a 1st round quarterback. So you just draft one in the 5th, 6th round. I don't get why teams that draft quarterback.
I don't know. I do agree with Monday night. Real quick, I agree with Monday night. Are we kind of just done? Is everybody just kind of done watching the Bills? No matter how good they wind up being,
one week they dominate, the next week they struggle with the Giants.
I don't enjoy watching them play. Josh Allen is kind of stalled. We kind of thought he would do this year. Not too
much for him though.
Ken probably remembers I did a few AFC's previews this year. We were totally right about Allen. Just he's not taking that next winning step. It's just kind of the same game every week. He's right there with Herbert as far as we know what we're going to get every week. The offensive roster,
the roster offensively is not good though.
I so disagree with that. That I disagree with.
There's a drop off from Diggs to the next good.
Gabe Davis, when
he's all right, he's solid. He's not.
You have a
runs one route. Gabe Davis runs one.
He gets a touchdown. Everybody thinks he's good, but he has 20 yards and all that. He's not
But
He
he's
doesn't
all right.
distract.
Even in the
Yeah.
instance of the Bills, even in the instance
No
of
run game.
what we need to talk about is the fact
They don't
you talk
use
about
the
running
run
backs.
game.
You talk about running backs not being valuable, bro. They've missed on 4 drafts in a row on really our weakest
Do you
part.
think it's
running
you
the
think it's
ball.
because they keep drafting them?
Yeah, like they've literally missed it. I'm not saying James Cook is bad, but he's not what they thought he would be. Like, nobody has turned out to be what they thought they would be when they draft them. Zach Moss, like they constantly go after a running back in the second or
He's
third
balling
round.
in Colts though, Zach Moss.
Well,
Yeah, but he wasn't what he was
Buffalo
supposed to be.
doesn't try and run the ball with running backs. It's
They
just
don't.
when we are 3rd and 3, we're just going to hut it to Allen, and because he's 6'5", he's just going to run and get it himself. So then we look at the running back stats at the end of the game, and we go, oh, he wasn't very good. He had 12 rushes for like 30 yards. And it's like, okay, but like that's because they just hut it to Josh Allen in important
Yep.
situations.
They have a lazy
They
offense.
do
I'm
this thing
just
where
tired of
it's
watching
first
them.
down where they're 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7, and then we look at the end and we're like, why is his stats no good? Because they don't get creative with running backs. They just think they're just there to run the ball 2nd or 2-3 yards, and that's it. Like they don't use them. It's not that these running backs aren't good. It's that they just refuse to use them.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lazy offense. I
But
can't.
they
say
insist
that.
on drafting them as if they missed on the one the year before. Like they've drafted a running back 4 years in a row. So it's like if you're not going to use them, don't draft them. That's fine. But they insist on like we're trying to find the right running back, and you haven't found it, whether it's due to your play calling or due to performance. Like then stop drafting them in the 2nd or 3rd round, because that's what you've done every year for the past 4 years is draft them in the 2nd or 3rd round. Like essentially, I think you've wasted a pick. If you're not going to use them, you've wasted a pick. You can have a playmaker everywhere else to replace the 10 injured guys on your defensive side that get hurt every year. That are
It's a Ken Dorsey issue. Like they don't want to talk about it. After the Miami game, everybody's like, "Oh, Dorsey figured it out. He's the next, he's the next genius." No, it's a Ken Dorsey issue. The
That offense
offense
hasn't
is
been right since Dave Ballard.
the offense is stale. It's boring. It's lazy. It's predictable. The worst thing you can have is a predictable offense. Asking a Ohio State fan, it doesn't work. I don't care what parts you have in place. If the other team knows what's coming, it doesn't matter. And that's what
Dayball might be available. So
that's where the Bills are. I
He
think
might be able to
that was the
pick back up.
if he was back, I think they'd be better. Okay.
They would,
All right,
yeah.
Rob.
So
All right, Rob.
wasn't rivalry of the week was going to be Ravens Browns. Jeff pretty much hit everything on the head.
I
And
apologize.
then I was
for
gonna
that.
no, you're fine. I was gonna do
dare you
Cowboys
do
Giants,
analysis.
right?
Giants Cowboys isn't it? Damn it.
But then that's not much of a rivalry. So we're just gonna go ahead
Really
and
isn't.
trash that segment. So and plus we got 12 minutes until the Michigan game kicks off, which I do want
That's
to
on
watch.
me,
So we're
guys.
gonna go.
That's on me.
Not
Oh,
at
you're
all.
Good, Jeff.
You're good. Mo, give us your luck this week.
This one is
Any-
so
I'm
tough,
slumping.
bro. This one is so tough because
Man.
some of these games it's like so one way or the other. So I'm gonna take Ken because I know where he's going. I'm taking the Steelers over the Packers. Gotta keep winning, buddy.
See,
Gotta
you
keep
guys,
it
I
moving.
hate when you guys do that. That's just
Gotta
so.
keep it moving, baby. What? They're 3.5 point favorites. I'm taking the Steelers. Gotta keep it moving, baby. Play it safe.
All right,
That's what I wasn't
Ken,
doing.
since he just took yours,
We
who's your
can
lock
pick
of the
the
week.
ones. We're competing for
Me
records.
and Mo
here.
did that for the first 8 weeks. So
What? Oh, do we have standings?
Yeah, Rob.
Cruz, you have it.
I know I got to be at the
I
top.
got to be last. I got to be last.
Mo is definitely at the top. I think I'm either second or third.
I've never went 0-2 yet. I don't think, unless I did last week. Last week
I'm
could have
gonna-
been 0-2.
I went and talked about Jordan Love for that long to then have Mo pick Steelers.
Top of the standings. I got to play it safe, baby.
Give me the Bills playing it safe. Bills over the Broncos at home. 7
Okay.
points favorite.
No risking. No, guys, no one takes risk here.
That's not true. I have picked underdogs as
No,
well.
not like me.
That hasn't worked, but I've tried it.
Mine definitely hasn't worked.
When I said
Oh,
New England's going to beat Miami, that's the bad one of the year.
Oh, that was rough.
I mean, I took Chicago over the Chargers on Monday night. So, Jeff, who's your lock of the week?
I'll give you a 2 parlay lock of the week. I got the Titans and the Jaguars winning outright.
Ooh,
Titans and the Jaguars.
I think this Levis thing is
two
real.
dogs. I like
think
it.
He's
so.
good. He's good.
I think the Buccaneers are just they're kind of just him
The
haw and they're
Spain.
and it's another one of those to where Baker Mayfield is what like people like that what's going to happen. And I think this 49ers team is struggling. I think the Jaguars everything we already talked about. So yeah, give me Jags Bucks. And I will bet this just so everybody knows. I don't want to
Jeff,
be that
who
guy.
were the two QBs that everyone said looked really good in preseason? It
In
was
preseason?
Baker Mayfield, and it
Oh,
was
yeah,
Jordan
Mayfield.
Love.
Love.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's weird.
How weird is
They're
that?
definitely preseason.
Preseason doesn't quite translate to when
They're
games
definitely
matter.
preseason quarterbacks. I would not want to play Vrabel as an average quarterback. Like his defenses tend to show up and get physical. And here's what the Titans do. If their quarterback gives them hope, they will come out and play hard regardless of standings. That's one thing they don't. A Vrabel team does not lay down. They will bite you. So I really have a lot of faith in that.
And Will Levis might actually be good. Like
He looks great.
might actually be good.
Looks great.
Prez, are you taking Giants plus 17 as your lock?
You know what?
Do
With
it.
Danny DeVito there, man, sounds enticing.
Dang.
No.
Danny might
I've never-
be a better QB option for you this weekend, and I don't think he has knees left.
DeVito ain't
Yeah.
finishing this game.
DeVito's not finishing this. I don't know who the backup. Oh, Matt Barkley. Yeah, we might see
Barkley
Matt
squared.
Barkley.
Put it on.
I am not gonna go. I will watch that game though, just for fun. But
Oh, it's not going to be fun.
What's fun about it?
no, it's gonna be fun. I want to laugh. I want to have fun. I got to get the $100 I owe Mo because after
So how
gotta
long
find
into
that.
the game are you ordering your Caleb Williams USC jersey?
oh, it's already ordered. It's ready, pre-ordered. Got it ready to go. I just need the card, and that's my
That
upset
guy
of the
has
week.
that guy
It's
has
the Cardinals.
Yeah, that
Cardinals.
guy
You're
has
taking
more,
the Cardinals to beat the
so many
Falcons.
red
The
flags.
Cardinals to beat because I am the biggest Arizona Cardinals fan. Because remember, we have the tiebreakers. We did beat them, unlike you guys. So
Yes, and that means they win the tiebreaker.
yeah, what I mean.
You tried to say
I need them to win to keep winning because we beat them, so they would have the tiebreaker.
Okay.
If we get them one pick. Yeah. Shut up, bro. Cardinals with the upset, and my lock of the week is the Jets over the Raiders.
You have yet to learn your lesson. That's why
You
you're
know
always take
Whoa.
underdogs as your lock. That's
You know what? Change it. Jacksonville over the 49ers. Let's do it.
As your lock or your upset?
That's my lock.
All right.
You still have yet to learn.
So I'm
Change it up.
taking Detroit as my lock. Going into SoFi Stadium and handling business against.
They'll have more fans there than the Chargers, so it's
They
a home
probably
game
will.
essentially.
But I expect
That's
them to go in there
horrible.
and handle
That's
business
horrible.
against the YouTube quarterback.
Doesn't that suck when
It's a
you're at
miserable
home?
situation.
That's a miserable situation. When
That's
you're
what they
the
get
home
for
team.
moving to fucking LA. Like,
Yeah, because it wasn't
they
like
should
that.
have
It
known.
wasn't as bad like San Diego. I'm sure
well,
they had
they knew, they just
this
didn't
is
care.
bad.
Yeah.
The only time
But
the
the
only
Rams have the same issue too. Like that's
The
a
only
bad
owners-
market.
Raiders.
Owners don't care. Owners do
People
not
like
care.
Yeah, but the
Rams
market,
more,
the
though.
market is not.
They still
it's not a
make-
football market. It's
But
not.
they
No,
still make
it was about getting the stadium built. It had nothing to do with football. It's just
It
about getting
doesn't
that
matter
stadium
what
built.
team,
That's
team
Jerry
fan
Jones
base
did
buys
that.
the
You guys know
tickets.
Jerry
the
Jones
ticket
did that,
spot.
right?
what when
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
Jerry
Chuck-
Jones
yeah,
is the one that got that
yeah,
deal
yeah,
done.
yeah, He
that
was
stadium.
backed it up.
He
yeah.
makes all kinds
But that's
of money
just a
off that.
horrible like to imagine warming up and all that, and all you see is like if you're playing the
Blue.
Eagles or the Cowboys, all you see is a sea of blue, and it's not your blue.
I mean, that's
You know,
FedEx
that's
Field
just
every
a
weekend.
But if you guys were good, like if you get good, that play you're going to see all just
Yeah,
the
that's
colors
true.
and
They-
all that. With the
the Chargers
Chargers,
couldn't-
the Chargers
no matter
could
how
be
good they
15-1. It doesn't matter. Same
Yep,
thing with the
that's
Rams.
true.
The Rams won the Super Bowl and nobody gave a crap. Like it's just a hard. I think that's really bad. That's something I don't know how you fix it, but
But
I-
football's not
I-
that big in LA. Like it's like
Yeah,
the
I think it's
know.
a. I think it's a. Yeah.
Okay, so then why did
Dude,
I know the stadium, but that's horrible. That's
Dude,
not good. That's
here's
not
what's
good at all.
Look
I
look
hate
right
that.
now. Look
It's a
right now.
nasty
No
feeling.
offense,
It's
Cruz,
just-
but
it's
look
gross.
right now at what tickets cost for a UCLA or a USC home game compared to like a Big Ten school. You can go for like nothing. The cheapest game for tonight against Michigan State, Ohio State's like 150, 160 bucks to sit outside the stadium. Basically, you can go to a USC game for like $17. I'm being serious. Like,
you pay 150, you're sitting on the
and I get it. The weather's better. I totally understand it, but it's just different. Like the Chargers are never gonna have a fan base like the Giants or the Cowboys. Like it's just not gonna. It can't happen. Like, it's just not made that way.
I hate watching Chargers or Rams games, and you
Yeah,
hear
and
is
it's
the Eagles fans going crazy, or Cowboys fans, and I know those fan
what
bases
it's-
travel well, but it's not
yeah,
a good look.
It sounds
It's
like
not a
the
good look.
COVID years, like when it was piped in sound. Like it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
doesn't look good on TV. It doesn't sound good on TV. Like
It's hard. It's
just-
not a good look at all.
Yeah.
It's a terrible feeling.
Mo, who's
Go
your
Lions.
upset?
Okay, this is where it gets tough. Upset of the week. I'm a rock with you, Rob. I'm a rock with you.
Let's go.
Commanders gonna beat the Seahawks. I'm rocking with you, Sam Howell. I'm gonna ride
like
the Sam Howell train. The
I like
Commanders are gonna beat the Seahawks, find themselves at 500, and be able to still be exactly where I said the Commanders would be going into the season. They'll be that third team in the NFC East that's a borderline playoff team. I think if the Seahawks can be had, it's this week. They're kind of trending downwards a little bit.
Mhm.
They started out great. They started out hot. And then they're kind of like they did last year. Geno looked like the guy for the first 8 to 9 weeks. And then he looked average, and average was good enough to win games because they got a good enough roster. It was good enough. But I think the Commanders are able, I think they're going to believe in, they believe in Sam Howell, and I think he's going to be able to make some plays. And I would expect them Seahawks corners that we have so much love for have actually been had these past few weeks by lesser receivers. I think this is a big Terry McLaurin game.
Yeah, I think it's a high scoring game. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game, to be honest.
Yeah, because the I think if Geno wants to be taken serious and look good, the
They're gonna
Commanders
fling it.
defense isn't the greatest either. So he needs to play, I don't want to say lights out, but he needs to play really good as well, or else they're just going to ride the rest of the season being good enough to make the playoffs and losing in the first round, which I think that's what the Seahawks are. But I think the Commanders, they're out of tanking for a quarterback. I think they found their guys. So the tanking thing and losing games on purpose is out the window. I think they get going for the rest of the season and be that borderline where the last 3 to 4 weeks they're looking at an opportunity to, if they handle business, could sneak into the playoffs. And I think it starts tomorrow.
I
Give me a
can't wait to
shootout.
get that false hope in November just for Ron Rivera to not know that we get eliminated in week 16 again this year. Jeff, who's your upset pick?
I'm sticking with my same parlay. Jaguars, Titans, both upsets.
Go. Big Jaguars fans this week. Big Jaguars fans this week.
I like what I did. I like how they're playing football. I like what they're doing. I'm enjoying watching. I like watching quarterbacks get drafted and succeed. Like, it doesn't matter to me. It does not matter what school they come out of. It doesn't matter how much I dislike them in college. I like to see them succeed. So I like what's happening with Lawrence. I like to see guys like, Stroud, Lawrence, these guys like, hey, it's working, because we're so hard on them and there's so much pressure, and we trash, the ones that don't succeed so much. Like, I enjoy watching a team build around like it working. I'm the same way with every sport, like whether it's the NBA or whatever. Like, I like to see it work, and I like what the progress the Jaguars are making.
Can I just say this real quick about the Jaguars? Just, does this not make them the scariest team like in football right now? Because we're talking about the way they're winning games, and they're winning defensively, and their offense hasn't really clicked.
Let's face it, they should have went to the AFC Championship last year, right? Or was it
If their offense clicks, like now you're talking about them being really good defensively and their offense clicks. It's not like they're lacking weapons. They got Calvin Ridley. They got what's his name from the Cardinals? God, I can't think of his name.
Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk. They got ETN and Bigsby. Like, they got the weapons. The offense just isn't clicking. They got
Ingram's been playing good for that tight end.
So if their offense clicks to the point where we think they could, like, this could be a team. Don't be surprised if Jacksonville's hosting the AFC Championship. Like, just don't be surprised if that offense clicks in the next couple weeks. Don't be surprised if they got the best record in the AFC and they mess around and they're hosting an AFC Championship game.
Have they ever hosted an AFC Championship? I know they've been there twice, but were they on the? I know the one was in New England.
Well,
what about the '99 one?
Mark Brunell, I believe.
Yeah,
I believe that was at Jacksonville.
It was at Jacksonville. Yeah. That's when.
Don't
they
forget about
played the
David
Broncos, right?
Gerard.
With
David
Blake
Gerard,
Bortles.
one of my favorite.
Gerard had
quarterbacks
some
of all
good
time.
years with them. Right?
Went into
Yes.
Pittsburgh and beat him in a playoff game. One of my
Yeah,
favorite.
it was a good game.
It was honestly like his illness like got him out of the league. But what a great guy, and had some great wins for Jacksonville. Love David Gerard.
So Press said Jags as well. Ken, who's your upset?
So since Mo ran out my clock, Chargers.
Chargers upset.
I'm taking Washington as well. Seattle, their defense is middle of the pack, 20 and 21st in run and pass defense respectively. I think this is a big game for Terry McLaurin. I kind of hope it's not. I kind of hope Jahan Dotson has a big game only because I'm going up against Mo in fantasy this week, and he has Terry McLaurin. So I'm not trying to lose this week.
Oh, right. Oh, I gotta check my team. Thanks for
So
crap.
I'm thinking Washington over Seattle. Seattle's a 6-point favorite right now. So that's
That's
it.
a lot, isn't that?
I
Ken?
feel like damn near being
Ken,
a touchdown
That's not a
favorite.
lot of points.
That's a lot.
It's in Seattle and it's rainy.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah, but
Washington can
six.
play that type of football. Like I would
Yeah,
take
they could play
Washington.
that.
Like I'm gonna
It
bet
was
on
3, 2.5.
Right, but
would be,
when your
six is a
quarterback
lot.
throws 50 times a game, and
Yeah,
and
I get
Mo, we know firsthand what kind of rain Seattle gets.
Yeah.
So like having
More
a
money.
quarterback throw,
So should we take the under? Is that what you're saying? The under?
I would probably say.
Well, is it
what
supposed
that?
to rain? Then
44
that
and a half.
changes. It's supposed to rain.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's Seattle.
All right, so maybe.
I was going to say it's
maybe that
Seattle. I
changes
assume the
shootout
answer is
then.
yes.
Yeah, it just rains. It won't be like pouring rain. It'll just be
Okay.
it'll be
It's so
wet.
funny. The weather is better. I was watching the Georgia pregame. The weather's better here for the Ohio State game than it is for the Georgia game. It's
Yeah, it's
it's
raining.
weird like that.
So
Global
trying to
warming.
pay some bills real quick. If you're trying to go to any of the college football games later today, you still have time. You're trying to go to an NFL game, any NBA games. NBA season just kicked off. You got the in-season tournament. Trying to go to any of those games, go over to our partners over at SeatGeek. Use promo code Off the Ball Network in all caps to get $20 off your first purchase. This has been great, guys. It was great having a full house. Jeff, thanks for making an appearance. It's always fun when you're on. You always got a spot.
I know I
here.
completely derailed the train, but I like doing the show, and I'm actually home on a Saturday. So
That was great. Mo, once again, happy Veterans Day, my guy.
Of course, it's
enjoy that
time to eat.
retired live. Yes, it is. Prez, thanks for hopping on. Hopefully you guys at least cover, just so you guys can win. At
I'm
least
expecting
something.
6 points.
Like for you guys to
Whole
score 6 points.
Yeah, no, a whole 6
Oh,
points.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, Ken. Thank you for coming on. It's been a great show. I hope all of you guys have a great weekend. Go enjoy football, and we will.